Hello, everyone, and welcome to CTEC 121 Intro to Programming and Problem Solving for the Spring 2024 quarter. In this short video, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, why you should learn to code in Python. I'll give you an overview of the course, and I will also tell you how you can simultaneously earn a certificate from CS50 at Harvard University. A little bit about myself. I've been teaching at Clark College for almost 12 years. I teach a version of this course at Portland State University in their graduate school. That Elguji that you see there, E-L-G-U-J-I, that's a combination of my last name and my wife's maiden name. We stuck the two together and we created this company called Elguji Software. And we created a product called Idea Jam. A little bit more on that shortly. I also did some work for lynda.com, which is now owned by Microsoft. Started an open source coding community for IBM. I spent the years 1985 to 1998 working for a company called Underwriters Laboratories. I started off in their electrical engineering department and made my way into IT and to management. I then worked for a division of Sharp Corporation. I worked for Sharp Microelectronics of the Americas. I've also been recognized by IBM as an IBM champion. I hold close to 20 certifications from Microsoft, and I'm also an AWS Cloud Ambassador, AWS being Amazon Cloud Services. So here are some screenshots, and these screenshots are quite old. This is the product that my company created, Elguji Software, and think of it as a very primitive Facebook where people in companies, organizations were able to post ideas, vote on those ideas, comment on those ideas, and even like and dislike ideas. And they were able to track, the popular ideas, the least popular ideas, the ideas getting the most comments, and things like that. I believe these screenshots were probably from, 2009, maybe 2010. Just letting you know. I also created a product called IQ Jam, which was a question and answer system where people inside of companies could post questions and they could get answers to those questions, much like something you may know called Stack Overflow. I also had the opportunity to build iOS applications. This one here is one that I built probably in 2011 for the Children's Cancer Association. You could use this application to search iTunes and then purchase either a song or an album, and the Children's Cancer Association would get a portion of the purchase price, and you could also preview the songs as well. So this was a fun application, and as you will learn in this course, this particular application needed a way to talk to iTunes, and it used something called an API, or an Application Programming Interface, provided by Apple to access iTunes. All right. I also created a fun little app here called Taser, T-S-A-Z-R, and this application was built at a time when the TSA, those people at the airport who check that they check your luggage, they check, that you don't have any, weapons on you and stuff like that. And this app allowed people to log their experiences as they went through a TSA screening point. Okay, that was a fun little app. And as you can see, this application actually made it to the new and noteworthy section of the Apple App Store at one point. Yeah, that's what the App Store used to look like a long time ago. So I, in high school, really wanted to be a rock star, but let's just say that didn't happen. But a friend of mine, Tommy Henriksen here, who plays with the Alice Cooper Band and also plays with a group called the Hollywood Vampires, he's how I live my rock and roll fantasy out through. That's my wife and Tommy on the left. That's Tommy and Johnny Depp on the top. That's on the bottom there, myself, my niece, Alice Cooper, my wife, and my stepdaughter. And on the right there, there's me living out my dream, playing the drums of Glenn Sobel, who's the drummer for the Alice Cooper Band. All right? So I went to college in Hoboken, New Jersey, right across from Manhattan. And I studied electrical engineering and received a Bachelor of Engineering degree in electrical engineering in 1985. I had a really difficult time in college. I consider myself maybe a C plus or B minus student. But I'll tell you, since that time I graduated, no one has really ever asked for my grades. They asked me to show me what I can do for them and show me what I've done. All right? That's me with hair, and that's me leaning over. I think some of you may know I'm legally blind. I don't see that well. I don't drive a car. And that's me using a PC probably in the mid-1980s, maybe 1986 right there. And on the left, that's me giving a class. My first role as a teacher, teaching people about personal computers when they were first made available and they were purchased inside of organizations. And I believe that was in the 1980s. And I also had the privilege of having my company, my employer, pay for my graduate degree from New York University's Polytechnic School of Engineering. And that, I think that was like 1990 or something like that. All right. So I've taught 13 different classes on web development at Clark. But as you know, they weren't taught all at the same time. I teach students how to create things accessible to everyone. And that means that people with disabilities, people who don't have disabilities, that the things that get created, again, are meant to be used and accessed by everyone. I've been thankful to receive the Exceptional Faculty Award twice, and I'm part of the team that helped create Clark's Universal Design Policy. And, as you heard before, I'm starting my 12th year at the college. So far, hey, thanks for watching this video. And if you want to pause it at this time and send me a message on Slack letting me know that you're watching it for some what I call pause points, please do. All right? So the language that we are going to learn, that you're going to learn to use in this class, is called Python. All right? So the work that you're going to be submitting is code, right? Instructions for that you're going to give a computer to solve a specific problem are going to be used using this Python programming language. And you can see on this chart here that Python is a pretty popular language in the scope of language popularity. You can see JavaScript looks like it's edging it out. But still, look at all of those languages and you're here learning something that is very popular and in high demand. So I mentioned before that you have the opportunity to also earn a certificate from CS50 at Harvard University. Not CS50P, but CS50 at Harvard University. And some of you have contacted me already, which is awesome. But the work that you do, right, for this class can also be submitted in parallel, and there is instructions in each Canvas module on how to do this. You can also submit your work to them, and hopefully by the end of the quarter, you'll be able to receive this certificate. More on this and how it's going to work throughout the quarter. So here are some past students who have received, who have earned, right, that certificate from CS50 at Harvard University. It's quite impressive, right? And also, just so you know, there are students who go on beyond their work at Clark and take other CS50 courses. And you can see here that Colin earned their certificate from CS50X, which is a Intro to Computer Science course, CS50P, which is this course, and CS50W, with his web programming with Python and JavaScript. So just know that there are a lot of other CS50 courses that I guarantee you'll get hooked on. All right. I had the honor to speak at Harvard University at the 2023 CS50 Educators Conference. And by now, I'm sure a lot of you have watched David J. Malin's videos. And that's David and I. We snagged a second to snap a photo. And on the right there's me giving my talk. And let's just say I was pretty dang nervous, but I was honored to be part of that event. Let's talk about your work in this class. Your participation, right, is going to count for 10% of your final grade. Labs, 15%. Quizzes, 10%. Problem sets, those are weekly, and the quizzes are weekly, and most labs are weekly, and participation is weekly. Problem sets, 40%. There's going to be a midterm exam just as a checkpoint to see how you're doing, 10%. And then, hear me out, final project or final exam. If you are pursuing the CS50 at Harvard University certificate, you are going to need to do a final project. If you're not, you can still do a final project, or you can elect to take a final exam, both worth 15% of your final grade. All right. Already, everyone has used Slack because I've graded all of the introduction, so I'm not going to spend much time on this. This is the venue where I want you to ask questions, get in touch with me, and again, I check that 7 days a week, and hopefully, if you have a question, whether another student assists you or I do, I'll do my best to at least acknowledge your question, and if I can, I will provide you with some guidance. All right? So there are the Slack channels that I know a lot of you have seen before. At the bottom it says private workgroup channels. We'll be talking about this later on. Maybe soon. All right? Coding tools, right? Before you use any software for this class, you're going to, and I think everyone has done this already, congratulations, right? You set up your coding environment, your coding environment, which was that CS50.dev environment, right? That GitHub and that other step that I asked you to do. If you've completed Lab 0, which is due during the first week of class, you fired up Visual Studio Code, all right? So that's also known as VS Code, just so you know. And that's going to be the only tool you're going to be using. In fact, there's some AI in there, and we'll talk more about that in a future video, in a future module, but just know that that is the only approved AI you're allowed to use for this class, all right? So you can pause the video at this point, and I'm not going to read through these bullet points, but again, pause the video, send me a message on Slack saying you've read this particular slide, and maybe tell me whether you've had experience so far going through the material on the module, and whether so far this attack, as I call it, is working for you. All right. You are going to be using something called Check 50 and Submit 50. And what this does is check your work to make sure that it's meeting the requirements of the problem. Now, hear me out. Just because you see, in this case, somebody is submitting Coke.py, and you see all those green smiley faces, just know that, yeah, the code works, all right? But me, as your instructor, I'm going to go through and review your code as well. So don't think you automatically get, full credit for that problem, because there's other things that I'm going to look for in the code to make sure it's doing what it needs to do, all right? So you'll learn more about those when you do the lab. Plagiarism checking tool. I use a tool. It's called Compare 50. I'm able to compare everyone's work in the class, and I'm also able to compare your work to solutions from ChatGPT or the internet. So I have a zero tolerance policy for plagiarism. You'll fail the class if I find that you've copied a solution. The best thing to do is, if you don't know how to do a problem, ask questions, or start to embed what we call comment in your code, trying to explain to me, right, what you think the code can do. And also, you're going to use something called the Duck Debugger inside of Visual Studio Code to help you solve the problems. Again, zero tolerance for plagiarism, all right? So there's the tentative weekly schedule. Again, pause the video at this point. If you want to get some pause points, send me a Slack message. Let me know, and I know you already filled out your codographies and things like that, but let me know, like, looking at this list, what thing you're most interested in maybe learning about that you don't already know, all right? So let's go through a Canvas shell tour. And again, most all of you have been in Canvas so far, so I'm going to skip right to like a module, all right? Right here, a module. In fact, I'm going to see if I can turn on my class here. Let me say, hey everybody, it's me. I'm here talking to you. And what I want to do is just see if I can dim myself a little bit more here. And what I want to do is just show you all of the modules in Canvas, in my Canvas shells, and all of my courses look the same. They're structured the same way. You'll see a module introduction. You'll have a verb in front of each thing: read, attend, complete, do, all those verbs, right? Watch, right? Here's one that says lecture videos by Professor David Malin and Carter Zenke. You're going to want to watch those, right? We're going to want to watch those. There are also additional videos. Some of these are called shorts. They're made to quickly get you up to speed on a particular topic. And I also have instructional videos outside of those from our friends at CS50, which you can find in each module. Now, I do need to scroll back up. I want to show you something here. Right here. You see right here it says course notes by module. If you click on this, right, you want to bookmark this page in Canvas, like bookmark it, because these are links to all of the notes, again, provided by our friends at CS50, for you to use in your learning, for your exams, for the problem sets, etc. All right? So pause the video right now, bookmark this page in Canvas. All right? How's everyone doing so far? You excited about Python? All right, I hear you. I was really excited when I learned Python 12 years ago when I was asked to teach this very course. All right? So, instructional videos, Zoom class recordings, that's not turned on. That's for the people who meet. There are skill building exercises. Do not, did you hear me? Do not skip these, because these exercises are going to help you with the problem sets. They, as they state, help build your skills to solve, problems that you need to do as a part of the problem set. All right? Do not need to be turned in. Don't turn in the skill building. All right? If you got questions about them, right? Hit me up. Talk to me. I'm here to help. Also, there's a lab that's like due, right? Coming due. And this is your first, and I'm going to pull it up, by the way. Right? Let me just fade away just a little bit, right? So again, you'll see most of my assignments are structured using this format, right? It's very descriptive, lots of illustrations on what you need to do. And all I'm going to say is follow these steps very carefully. And when you get to the very end, right? When you get to the very end, it looks like a lot of stuff. I'm just trying to help those of you new to Python out with learning the language and how this entire coding, this Visual Studio Code coding environment works, right? You're going to want to run your code yourself. And I tell you how to run it. I give you instructions on how to do this, all right? Now, at the very end, right? At the very end, you're going to, again, you're going to need to, where are you? Where are you? Right here, task 14, where it's going to have you use check 50. Remember, I talked about that earlier. It's going to have you use check 50 to ensure that your code is producing the expected results, right? So, notice down here, right, it says 1, right? Now, I need to talk about this for a second. Notice right here it says like something over here, but here it says something different. Use this information here, right? If the instructions say, run this, I want you to run this. This is an outdated graphic. And I didn't have time to update it, all right? So make sure that you read, and that's a huge part about this course. You need to read. You can't just skim. You can't skip steps or anything of the sort, all right? But after you run check 50 and you get those smiley faces, right, be sure to then submit your work using submit 50, all right? And submit 50 is going to give you a URL, just so you know, that you can then click on, and it will tell you the results, right? It's kind of shown down here, right? Down here. You want to click on that, and you want to make sure that it's giving you 4 out of 4 for the check 50, and there's also something new I added called style 50, which is going to make sure your code looks professional. So don't forget style 50, all right? And again, when you click on that link, you're going to see stuff like this, right? It's going to tell you each test that I performed, that check 50 performed, and then it'll tell you whether you passed or failed it, all right? Now, just know that I still need to go over your code, all right? And there's also ways that I've seen students try to fool check 50 by just printing out what the problem is expecting, and that's not solving the problem. That's you don't want to do that. Don't be that student, all right? Down here, you'll see a problem set 0. It has the due date. And if you're submitting for the CS50 at Harvard University certificate, you're going to need to read this. Each problem set, my friends, when you click on that, right, it's going to tell you, right, all of the problems that you need to solve. You'll click on, say, the first problem called indoor voice, and then there are like instructions on what the problem is. I give you hints, right, and I tell you how to go about preparing this exercise, for you to begin your work, and also for you to check your work and submit your work. And you'll notice in here, you can actually see a running demo of what you should type in yourself, and what you should see as output. All right. The first problem set 0, yes. In Python, we start counting at 0, and a lot of other programming languages as well, but there are 5 problems. Do not wait. Do not wait. Look at these. Pause the video right now. And you want some pause points? Some more pause points? Let me know that you've looked through these problems. All right? Okay? So that's the problem set. And then there is a weekly where are you quiz, right? there's a boot up quiz that's due during the first week of class, and a lot of you have completed this already, and I saw a lot of good grades. Congratulations. And then there's a module quiz, and you get 2 attempts at these quizzes. Okay? There'll be 1 quiz going forward, but actually, there's only 1 quiz a week. This quiz right here is meant to be for the second week. Now, my quizzes are not timed. So open these, like right now. Pause the video, right? Pause the video. Go and open them, right? Go start them. Just don't submit them, all right? Submit them after you learn, like you're learning, and say, oh yeah, Bruce asked about this particular topic, and then go answer those questions on the quiz. Submit it, see what you get, and then if you want to take it again, be my guest. Lastly, you see right here, this is your way to provide me with feedback. How's your learning going? Are there areas that you are struggling with? Whoops, let me just, are there areas that you're struggling with? Are there things that you need help with? Are there things that maybe you didn't quite understand, which you require further clarification on, all right? So given that, and how fast I talked, and I apologize, I know your time is very precious. Thanks for watching the video. Get me those pause points on Slack, and I'll be sure to write them down. So welcome to CTEC 121. This is by far my favorite class to teach, and there's nothing more satisfying than seeing students like yourselves learn how to code using the Python programming languages. So that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed your first week of classes, and I look forward to working with you as a student. Y'all take care. Bye.